Hey guys, how's it going? It's Moen, aka the Wolf on Dixie, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about something I get asked all the time. When people are looking at purchasing a new vehicle, they want to know, should I be looking at a lease or a finance? So let's get right into it. So the first thing we need to understand is what is a lease and what is a finance. Essentially, a finance is when you're taking a loan out against a vehicle, and for a set period of time, the term, you're going to be financing that vehicle and making payments on it. When the term is over and you've made all your payments, or if you decide to pay it off early, which is always an option here at Ontario Chrysler, the vehicle is yours. You own the vehicle. On the contrast, in a lease, you're essentially getting the vehicle for a set period of time, similar to a rental, but with many different options at the end. So you can lease one of our eligible vehicles for anywhere from 24 to 60 months. At the end of that lease term, the options that you have available are A, you can purchase that vehicle outright, assuming you really liked it. B, you could return the vehicle to the lease owner and they'd be completely obligated to take it because your lease term is over. And C, you could trade that vehicle in, because at that point, there's still the potential that based on market conditions, you may have some equity, and we've seen this a lot. So let's talk about some advantages and disadvantages of financing and which vehicles you should be financing. So for starters, you see a whole lineup of muscle cars here. These cars cannot be leased. There is no lease program for them from Chrysler directly. There's some alternative leases we can arrange for you, but they're not generally favorable. So there's some vehicles that you just can't lease even if you wanted to. So what's available is a finance. Now, on the finance side, there are some advantages and disadvantages. If you have credit that's not the best, you should be leaning more towards a finance. And the reason being is we've got many different lenders that can accommodate your needs, whereas on the lease side, there's usually one, maybe two lease companies that are going to be evaluating your credit worthiness. Now, that being said, the other advantage of financing is you can drive endless kilometers. You're not held accountable for how many kilometers are going to be on the vehicle at the end of the term, and you're definitely not going to be charged for that. There's just overall more flexibility and ease. A lot of people think if they finance a vehicle, they're stuck with it for 8 years, and this could not be further from the truth. You could finance a vehicle for 8 years and trade it in a year or 2 years with no penalties. Obviously, the only thing to consider is what the market value of the vehicle will be versus what you owe at the time when you're wanting to trade it in. That could be affected by things like how much money you put down when you purchased it, what the market conditions are at the time that you're trying to trade it in. So a lease is not the only an option that gives you flexibility when it comes to how long you want to stay in your vehicle and getting in and out of your vehicles. A finance can give you that flexibility as well. And like I said, there are some considerable advantages when you're thinking about a finance. So now, while there's some vehicles that don't lease really well, like the Dodge Charger and the Dodge Challenger, there's some vehicles that lease really, really well, and you should be looking out for them if you're considering a lease. One example of that we carry is the Jeep Wrangler. Now, the Jeep Wrangler has an excellent resale value, which in lease terms is called the residual. And basically that means that you pay less during the term of the lease to keep that Wrangler for whatever term you choose, whether it's 24 months, 36 months, 39 months. And generally, a strong residual value means that the lease payments will be lower than the finance payments. That's one of the main advantages of a lease. You could get a vehicle that would be considerably higher on the finance side for a more affordable payment. So keep that in mind. Also, a lease is not completely inflexible. Even if you lease the vehicle for 36 or 48 months, you do have the option of trading that lease in early. You'll just have a buyback similar to a finance buyback, but it's not as easy with a lease to trade the vehicle in early. So do keep that in mind. But if you're comfortable keeping the vehicle for 36 months, 48 months, whatever it is you decide, a lease is a great option for you, and I'd love to discuss some of that with you even further. So all I wanted to do today was basically touch on some of the advantages and disadvantages of leasing and financing. Like we discussed, there's some vehicles that lease really well, and that's an advantage. And there's some vehicles that don't lease at all, and finance is a great choice. I'm here to help you make that decision. And that's why, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach me or any of my team at Ontario Chrysler. I'm checking out for today. That's Moen, aka the Wolf on Dixie. Thank you very much.